In the service, they are known as the bravest men who survived horrific blazes and lived to tell the account, but with lifelong scars. Just like the rest of us, a fireman's day begins like any other normal day with the hope to do what one does best. Without knowing when an emergency call may come through, our fireman and his buddies get ready for a possible rescue mission. They arm themselves in their turnout gear, boots, trousers, jacket, gloves and helmet. Now, the team is ready to step out. While we wait for what the day would shape out to be, I try to get to know these men in a bit better. I hoped that having a day with these men would make me understand the nature of their job better. I was shocked at a point when the firemen narrated how they were involved in an accident and their recovery process.
As we were about to try to organize, all we heard was the sound. Boom! Then I can see my crewmen, everybody scattered. Someone in the gutter. In fact, I fell in the gutter. Everybody was hit badly. All that I remember that I was in the Gapo hospital.
It was a Sunday morning, and then there was this distress call, an accident on the motorway, which we proceeded. When we were going, 207 bus crossed us, and then we suffered an accident. My kneecaps medically was broken.
I was hanged both my legs and I couldn't lie at my back, because when you lie on the saw too, it doesn't heal. Honestly speaking, it is not easy. When they start my dressing from 8, they finish sometime 2 p.m.
With the injuries, some were scarred for life. They tell us that their deformity affected their families, as some family members had to quit their jobs to take care of them. Despite the hazards that come with being a smoke jumper, personnel also have to contend with other challenges. Inadequate personal protection equipment, PPE, is a major one. We are told that many personnel do not have personal PPE, and so sharing is common. Coming into direct contact with smoke, which contains carbon monoxide and other toxic gases from burning substances, has always been part of a fire scene. Most of these firemen go to the field without the necessary breathing apparatus and face mask.
The PPE that we wore, when I wore and I go home, the same person will take over from me, wore the same PPE. Everything, the face mask and everything. Even when I send it to fire and the thing is wet, when you count, there's none. At least everybody should have his own face mask because I breathe into it.
According to them, the Ghana National Fire Service refunds all the money spent during hospitalization, and they also get a workman's compensation where applicable. But there is no special fire emergency fund to cater for them after an injury. There is also no comprehensive insurance for firemen in the country. They also say even where a refund is applied for, the paperwork takes a while, and they sometimes have to borrow to cover their bills before money expended is refunded. And what is the process for a refund and workman compensation?
As and when we receive money for goods and services, we also make the payment to personnel. And sometimes the goods and services do not come on time. And that is why normally there are delays.
For the injured that end up with some physical disfigurements, even attending social functions sometimes becomes difficult, and the psychological trauma is telling.
In the premises of people, you feel like, Charlie, you look at yourself. Look at how I was going to them. And they'll be asking you questions that you cannot tell lies.
And I just heard the sound of a matches, just the small flame of light. I will either fall down or try to run away.
Fire lamp and
you see kids, they normally make fun of certain things. When I get out in the room, they'll be calling me Al-Qaeda, robot. Because when you call me, I can't just turn the head. I have to turn the whole body.
We reached out to the Director of Public Relations at the Ghana National Fire Service, ACFOI, Timothy Osafo-Affum, for some answers. First, he spoke about the sharing of the personal protection equipment, PPE. ACFOI Osafo-Affum called for proper medical care and systems for firemen.
The minimum the state can do for us is to get us proper and adequate health care system to take care of the fire officer. Situations have arisen where in the line of duty, officers are hurt. You send them to hospital and they expect you to pay before they take care of the officer who is injured.
The safety of every fireman matters. How important is their safety to Ghana National Fire Service? Perhaps now is the time to think about the actual risk that firemen take whenever they are called upon to save the lives and property of unknown people. The slogan of the Ghana National Fire Service is "We don't take cover." What others run away from, we run towards. A fireman is a friend. Stop attacking firefighters. A fireman is an angel sent from God to save you. But to these men, their friendship sometimes turns out to be an attack from the public. From statistics from the Ghana National Fire Service, more than 40 firemen are injured, with over 10 losing their lives each year. So far, over 90 of the injured men have received their workman compensation. Despite the serious risk on the job, such as heat, exhaustion, burns, physical and mental stress, coming into contact with high levels of carbon monoxide and other toxic hazards, these fighters will live by pledge to continue to protect Mother Ghana. The life of fireman matters, but who rescues the rescuer? The forgotten heroes deserve better. When you bow your head in prayer, say a word for the fireman, because that firefighter might save you one day.
Thanks for staying on, and it's the other side of firefighting that you've seen on our screens this morning, catching a lot of heat for not appearing at the scene on time, not having water when they do appear at the scene, and a host of other challenges. Today, the fire service is at the table to have a say in the broader national discourse that is out there. We know that fires have cost the country so far 30,197,948.20 Ghana cedis from 3,678,000 outbreaks in the country, and that is only an estimated cost, so that could be even more. We are also being told that the number of fire outbreaks went up by about 3,030 fires as compared to the period last year, and we're going to be understanding some of those figures a bit better. At the table, I've been joined by Assistant Chief Fire Officer 1, who is ACFOI Timothy Osafo-Affum. He's the head of public relations of the Ghana National Fire Service, Osafo-Affum, right? Sure. Thank you for joining us. And he's here with Divisional Officer 1, DO1 Joseph Kofi Forson, and he's the acting Deputy Director of Operations at the Ghana National Fire Service. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Now, we'll get to what we saw a little bit, but I'm sure you would have some statistics to share with us in terms of our fire situation so far, from January perhaps to the latest figures that you may have.
Thank you very much. I think the statistics you used was for the first half of this year.
So we are not even up to December yet. This is just for the first 6 months of the year.
As at the end of last month, we had recorded a total of 4,737, 4,737. 4,737.
As at end of September.
As at end of September. And so, compared to the same figures last year, we have a jump of about in the region of 300, which means the fires have gone up compared to last year. However, this is not surprising because every year we get an increment in the incidence of fires. That notwithstanding, we set out for ourselves to reduce the rate of increase by 60%, and we are on course. If you look at the figures, it means we are still on course.
That's surprising. You're saying that there are more fires, even though we've seen relatively more rainfall. Some would say.
Unfortunately, the general public is of the opinion that when it rains, fires don't occur. But it is rather during the rainy seasons that we experience a lot of incidents in our homes. That is domestic settings. Most of these occur in the squatter areas where we record a lot of these fires.
And when we talk about the causes, what would account for some of the most significant fires that you have seen? You've mentioned domestic, but what causes the most fires in homes?
We have electrical, which leads. When we say electrical, it doesn't just mean that the supply of electricity, but it's about how we go about the use of electricity in our homes. That is the main causes of fires that we record in our homes. Then also the misuse or inappropriate use of naked light. When we talk of naked light, fires that occur as a result of use of candles, charcoal, mosquito coil, iron, etc., etc. Those are the misuse of these equipments. What we term as misuse of naked lights. So these are the two major causes that happen.
Okay, to add to what he said, another serious area is the leakage of gases. You know, when a gas leaks, it only needs naked lights, and then that ends in explosion. So most of our domestic fires occurs as a result of gas leakages. Then again, like he said, overloading of sockets. We have overloading of sockets and overloading of extension board. All the two gives us a lot of electrical fires. And then unattended cooking. Sometimes the recent ones we attended, somebody was cooking Indomie and they went to see somebody off, and then the whole place started by fire. I don't want to mention some places. Then again, burning of refuse. We call them unattended incidents. It can easily spread fire and then can destroy a lot of properties. So these are the causes of fire. But in a broad way, for causes of fire, we have the arson, carelessness, and ignorance. Arson, carelessness, and then ignorance.
What's the difference? So arson, someone sets the fire.
Deliberately set
Deliberate
the fire.
fire.
Yes.
Which is a crime.
Yes, that one is a crime.
And then the second one?
Second one, carelessness.
So that's where...
That is where all what we have discussed can play a role in carelessness.
So electrical leaks, gas leaks, unattended naked lighters, yes. They are all...
You could fall on carelessness.
Carelessness.
For ignorance, you don't know that what you are doing will cause fire. And that's for children. Sometimes they play with match, bend their finger and throw it. Then wherever it will land and cause fire. Okay,
so that's for the residential fires,
yes.
Those that we have at home. Okay. We are also seeing numbers in other commercial facilities. What are the figures for those like?
Okay. The figures for commercial fires. Mm-hmm. On our statistics, commercial fire is 118.
So would we say we are doing well in that area?
We are doing just very well.
And the markets, are they also doing well?
They are doing well. For now, we have fire volunteers in the markets, like Makwala markets. They have people, like after the close of the day's activity, they go around making sure that all the electrical gadgets are off. What they normally do is those who sell oil, they tend to heat the oil overnight. When they close from sales, they will leave fire under the oil, so it will melt it, so they can sell it the following day. And many a times, it causes fire. Those are the unattended naked light we are talking about.
When you engage the public in all these educational rounds that you go to, what do they tell you are the major reasons why perhaps they do not comply to some of the laid down procedures and follow the advice of fire officers in preventing fires?
They don't have any reason. The simple fact is that we as a people are not serious about safety issues. It has even improved but the improvement is just insignificant. You see, we had those days when you go out, especially community education, and you only have few people attending to listen. It is only when they are affected that they now become interested in issues of safety. But once they are not affected, they don't care. What I've seen about Ghanaians is that we are more security conscious than safety. But you can't leave one at the expense of the other. That safety and security must go hand in hand. For example, we've had a number of burnt to death issues because people are locked up in their rooms.
What
as a result of use of burglar proof.
Right. So a number of people have died in their homes as a result of fires because they couldn't come out.
Exactly. But the issue is, yes, security is important, but you don't do that at your expense. I have always been saying that when an armed robber comes into your home, if you comply, he will take whatever he needs and leave you. It is only when you challenge an armed robber that an armed robber will shoot you. So armed robber will take whatever item that he likes and leave and go. But fire will consume everything, including your life. Therefore, my advice to Ghanaians who are watching is that please don't over-concentrate on your security at the expense of your safety. You do both hand in hand, so that if there is an armed robber, you are safe. If there is a fire, you are safe. That is how we should go about it. You don't seal yourself in your room, so that if there is an emergency, you are trapped and you can't get out. Unfortunately, this is what is happening, and we must let Ghanaians know the bare facts on the ground. Let us have our security and our safety hand in hand so that all of us will be safe.
Right. I'm interested in this particular concept of safety when it comes to even security, because we find a lot of people doing what Officer Timothy is saying, building burglar-proof houses and forgetting that if there is a need to escape in the event of fires, you will be found wanting. Do you have a situation where fire officers go round, perhaps in homes? Are you invited by people, for example, to assess their fire compliance at home? I know you do that for industrial and some commercial property, but is the home check also very popular?
Yes, we have an amended law that now allows us to do what we are doing in the industries. However, there is a clause in the new law that says that the fire service are supposed to provide the safety needs of these homes. And it's a lot of money. So as I speak to you now, talks are ongoing with private partners, so that when an agreement is reached, then we'll go out there, supply every home with what is needed. That will be firefighting equipment and safety or warning alarm devices, so that if there is any emergency in your home, the warning device will sound an alarm telling you that there is something happening, so that you can escape on time. And then also, because we will train people on the use of this portable firefighting equipment, they will then be able to use it if it is safe to do so. Sometimes the fire is observed at its early stages, and once you are trained, you'll be able to do something about it, and there may not even be the need calling the fire service. But because people don't know what to do, they even apply the wrong extinguishing media, causing the fire to even burn more. And so we are very hopeful that latest by the first quarter of next year, we'll be coming into your homes with these equipment, and then we train you as well, so that the reduction in the number of outbreaks that we are experiencing in the industries will also translate into our homes.
To add to what is
at
said,
whose cost, though, is what my question. Would homes have to pay for this, or is it going to be provided by the fire service for free or at a fee?
It's going to be provided. The first year is going to be free, and then per the acts per the charges and amendments bill, Parliament will come out with how much each home is going to be paid, is going to pay. But mind you, this is going to be graduated depending on where you live. So the prime areas are going to pay bigger, and the slums are going to pay very minimal. So it depends on where you live and how much you are going to pay.
Okay.
To add to what you said, some people, residential people come to us for advice. You go to their homes, give them the fire engineering drawing as to where they should install extinguishers, smoke detectors. If you don't have any alarm, smoke detector alone can beep for you to wake up in case there was a outbreak of fire. So some do come to our office, and we go with them. We give them the direction, the advice, and they comply with.
So
and it's going on.
All these are education on safety, how to ensure that fires do not break out, and what to install to help yourself in case the fire does break out without needing to resort to the fire service or fire officers to come in to intervene. But if all those things fail and the fire escalates, your men are called in to support, and that's where the issues start rolling, isn't it? Because first, the response time, some complain, is very slow. Recently, something happened in the Ashanti region, was it? And there was a nursing training school that caught fire, and your service caught a lot of heat for the response in that instance. What's happening there? Are we improving response times?
Yes, response time. We've improved upon response time.
What's the average you're doing now?
Average we are doing now is between 4 to 6.
4 to 6
minutes, depending on availability of appliance within your jurisdiction. So let me give you a typical example. Trade fair, there was an incident. There's a fire tender at trade fair, and the incident happened in La around 4 a.m. There was no traffic. We took only 2 minutes to get to the scene, yet they were blaming us for not reporting early. There was no traffic. Sometimes traffic congestion can affect the response time. Because if you are in the queue, we need to obey road traffic regulation. You can't just bump into cars and then go. Sometimes you may go to the fire ground, it's out before arrival. So we need to obey road traffic regulation. If even the traffic light is green, you should also consider a drunken driver coming. Because our mandate is to save life and property. So from Labadi Trade Fair to La, only 2 minutes. They said, we called you, we didn't come. And I said, okay, give me the number you call fire service for me to call back. Nobody was able to give me a number. So you see, when it happens like that, everybody wants to say something. Our response time now is between 4 to 6 minutes. But if there was no appliance at La Trade Fair, definitely you have to call another vehicle to come from either Nungwa or Castle or headquarters. And that will make the response time a little bit, affect the response time.
And then when you do arrive at the scene,
yes,
then another matter also comes up.
What is the matter?
There's no water in the truck.
Let me take you through no water syndrome. For a fire to rage, it is not the material that is burning that will escalate, but rather flammable vapor that is generated. Anything that burns needs to give flammable vapor. Once the flammable vapor is generated, the fire will pick it up and start to burn. So when a fire starts, at the initial stage, the room will be very hot, and every combustible material in the room will start to heat up. Now when they heat up, they will start to give flammable vapor. The fire can take maybe 2 minutes to start. It can take less than 10 minutes to consume the whole room, because flammable vapor has been generated, and that is what is burning. You understand? So when we come, there was no way a fireman will go to fire ground without water, because water is the main source of extinguishing medium you are using. You can use seawater, you can use river water, you can use a pond, you can use well, and then the hydrant. If any fire officer is taking over from the outgoing, the first thing that person will check is the water. In fact, when you pass through any fire station, if the tender is facing towards the station, it means it is out of commission. Just go there and open the tank. You see water in it. let alone the tender that is in commission to go to fire ground. What will we go and do? Now, when we get to fire ground, we need to use water on the burning area. Our essence is to cool the heat down. Now, when you throw water on a burning area, the water will be converted to steam. Sometimes you don't even see the water on the ground. But steam will do more cooling for us. When the water gets to the burning area, it will do cooling. So there's no way a fireman will go to fire ground without water. We have different types of
We've heard
tanks.
reports
that
people have.
Tama, let me ask you. You are not a firefighter. You have not been trained.
No.
Supposing today you are given a fire tender as a fireman to respond to incidents, will you check whether there is water in it or not?
If I'm
a fireman,
I would check.
You will check. So you are not a professional, and you say you will check. How about the professional who has been trained? And so you see, sometimes you, my friends, I blame you. You go there and people just open their mouths. And yes,
the media.
Yes, you the media, because you are my friends. You see, you go to a grounds, and people just open their mouths, and you don't ask them any questions. You see, when you are in distress, you can say anything at all, and that is how come I blame you, my friends. Because if you go and the person say, we call the fire service 1 hour now, they have not come. How can you call fire service 1 hour? From Cycle to Adabraka, 1 hour. Come on. So let us be real.
This no water syndrome, let me add a little bit of, not analysis, explain. You know the water we are using? We have MPT, we have DPT, we have DUAP, we have water tender. All carries water. Some, their capacity, the tank is about 800 gallons. That will give you about 3,700 liters. And now the pump that we are using, at the pressure of a 7 bar, within 10 minutes, all the water will be exhausted. Now what we will have to rely on are fire hydrants. So if there's no fire hydrant at that vicinity, within that vicinity, we need to go and then replenish and come back. Even now, the current chief officer is saying that the moment we dispatch one vehicle, we should dispatch another to go and augment the water supply. So that if once the base pump is fighting, the one that went to support will go and do the water supply coming. There's no firefighter who will go to fire ground without water.
This matter. Let's invite the public into the conversation. I want to stress that because 1 second, I'll give you the opportunity. I want to invite you to join the conversation. Our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. Fire officers are in the house and they are making a strong case for why we see the things we see at fire grounds. And you can get your answers. Assistant Chief Fire Officer 1, Timothy Osafo-Affum, Head of Public Relations of the Ghana National Fire Service, and also Divisional Officer 1, Joseph Kofi Forson, Acting Deputy Director of Operations of the Ghana National Fire Service. You're saying that a professional fireman would check that he has water. Yep. And you go to the scene and sometimes the water runs out very quickly. Now the plan is to send an additional tanker to make sure that whilst the first one is dispensing, the second one is doing the back and forth to bring more water to the ground. How is that going? Is that working?
Oh, it's working perfectly for us now.
So what happened at that school, in that nursing school? That was not a pleasant experience, I bet, even for your men who attended the fire.
The incident happened in an area. The particular town that the incident happened, we don't have a fire station. So, but there is a fire station in the district. Unfortunately, the fire tender is broken down. So we need to call another station. And within the Bron-Ahafo area, the distance between the stations are far wide apart. And so it takes about 30 minutes to travel from one station to another. And you are not going to the station, you are going to another town to attend an incident. So it will take us roughly between 45 minutes and 1 hour. Now we should ask ourselves, when was the fire detected? They themselves, before they detected the fire had already grown into a big fire. And they are attempting to fight the fires themselves. It's an unpleasant situation which we don't want to happen.
But we have always been saying that, look, even if the fire tender closer to them was in operation, it will take time. And 1 minute in a fire outbreak, a lot of things will be consumed. What the public should understand about our job is that we have been telling you that anytime you observe a fire, whether you can deal with the situation or not, get in touch with us. If we come and we've been able to deal with the situation, we do our investigation. The investigation is very important to us because we need to factor that into our educational programs so that another person may not go through the same processes and result in fire. So it is important. So what happened was there was no fire tender in that particular district. A fire tender had to be called. Even the closest station to that place, too, the fire tender was broken down. That is the regional capital. The fire tender was broken down. So that is why the regional commander, together with his men, he mobilized men to go there and see what they can do. And the students were angry that why do you come without a fire tender? But they need to come and assess the situation and see what they can do, so that as the men are coming, they can brief them that on the ground this is what is happening. And so by the time they get there, they are already prepared and they know what is happening on the ground. So the general public, please understand our job. We are we have been trained. We also went to school, like you. So don't think that we are some non-entities in the fire service. No, we have been properly trained and we know what we do, and we do it best.
Joseph wants to add a point. I want to move to...
Yes, you see, when there is an incident like fire outbreak, we tend to do what we call size up. Save the surroundings. Prevent the fire from spreading to the surroundings. So our officer went there to mobilize. We have what we call fire volunteers. We can mobilize community members as fire volunteers. Then they can even segregate all the houses that were closer to this. They can start salvaging. We call some salvaging. Salvaging, you can pick items that are not burnt from the vicinity of the burning area.
I mean, your officers, you do face a lot of danger in your work, and I'll give you the opportunity to go through some of the challenges, but I know that you have issues with the protective gear that you wear to fight fires. The report that we saw just before the interview aired by GBC News reporter Juliet Metal Edmonds, who is our fire correspondent here at GBC, it tells a very striking story of the men you call the bravest who have suffered lifelong scars for fighting a fire at property for people they do not even know. What happens to these men?
Well, let me say that firefighting is a very dangerous occupation. You may leave home this morning, tell your wife and your children that I'm going to work, I'll be back. I may never return. The least that happens is that you get injured. And as for injury, we see them almost every day of our lives. You go to an incident scene fully fit, you come back injured. This is what the public don't think about. And in spite of all of this, we have not reneged on our job, because that is our calling.
How do you get injured at a fire scene? I mean, a fire scene is a dangerous place to be, but we expect that you should be in some protective gear with helmets and breathing aids and whatnot.
Yes.
You don't have them?
We have a minimum number of protective clothing. Yes, yeah. Now, the first crew, when I say the first crew, it means when the fire tender comes, the crew on board are all kitted with the proper firefighting equipment, from headgear to boots. Unfortunately, if they arrive at the scene and there's the need for additional manpower resources, that is where we have the problem. Because as the report indicated, not every firefighter has a personal protective equipment. And so if we are sending additional men onto the field, then those additional men may not have the PPE to wear. But even the PPE that we wear, you see, it is called proximity suit. Proximity because you can only use it to get closer to the fire. You cannot use it to enter the fire. And so if the fire has generated heat up to a certain point, you, even though you are in the PPE, you feel the heat. And this brings me to what happened some time back in Tema, about 4 months ago. These firefighters were fighting a huge blaze at the timber market. And so when they were feeling the heat, the public were fetching water and pouring it on them. And somebody picked that clip that the general public is using bowls and pans to fight the fire because the fire service has short water. You see, okay, I'll not go there.
For PPs,
we're talking about injuries
yes.
to your men. I'm interested in the police service. They have police hospital. The military has 37. Which one is the fire hospital?
No.
As of now, we don't have a hospital.
So when the men get injured, they have to fall on police and military.
General hospitals.
Who pays the bills?
That is where the problem is. The initial payment is always a problem because you know the hospitals also do cash and carry. We have the national insurance.
Police accident.
Every fire officer is on the national insurance policy. However, you don't go to fire and carry all your documents on you. So when the person gets injured and is carried to the hospital demands payment. But we are pleading with our hospitals. Some of them are doing very well. When you go and they realize that you are from an incident scene, they take the initial action before we go there to pay. But emergency funds that should be sitting down for such events is what is the problem in the system.
Where are the funds? It doesn't exist.
We don't have them. We don't have any emergency fund.
So your men go into fires knowing that if they get injured, they have to bear the cost themselves. The initial cost.
I must say, in recent times, there is a vast improvement. The moment there is an incident and the district or regional commander reports, the chief officer quickly sends funds to take care of the victims. But previously, you have to dip your hand in your pocket for that initial payment before it is refunded to you. And that was a very disincentive to our officers. Because what if you don't have the money? What if your commander don't have the money? It means you will be there. That is why I'm saying that some of the hospitals are doing well by helping. Others too will wait till you bring funds before they take care of the injured firefighter.
Sir Joseph, do you want to add something? I'll let you have your last word as well.
Yes, we have workman compensation, like you said. Workman compensation takes care of all the injuries that one will go through. We need to fill the form and then everything will be given to you, but it takes time. Like you said, now once the injury occurs, the district commander, the regional commander, and the chief officer, and even our welfare comes in with support, initial support, because they know that this workman compensation takes time. So they will support you with funds, and then if even you use your own money, they will reimburse you, they will give it back to you. So that is what I can say.
Your last word, Sir Timothy.
Thank you very much. My last word will be to the general public. We have dedicated our lives to serving you, even at the peril of our lives. And so the least we will expect from you is to castigate us. Please always encourage us, because we are working under very strenuous conditions, and you will not like your brother or sister to work under such situations. And so if we have dedicated ourselves to help you in your distress situations, please do not attack any firefighter. Do not attack any firefighter, because we are just like you. We are your brothers, we are your sisters, but you are in a distress situation and we are in there to support you. Please call on us anytime you have any emergency. Call and call on time, because
and the emergency number,
call,
I'll give it to
your timeous call is very, very crucial.
The emergency number.
Okay, the emergency numbers we have the 112, we have the 192. For the 192, some jurisdiction doesn't go through, but some jurisdictions it goes through. So 112, 192. Then I'll give you our master control room. The number is 0299 340 643, and then 0299 340 383. Please, you've heard me giving this emergency number. Don't give us prank calls.
Assistant Chief Fire Officer 1, Timothy Osafo-Affum, Head of Public Relations, and Divisional Officer 1, Joseph Kofi Forson, Acting Deputy Director of Operations, both of the Ghana National Fire Service. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting with us. Then fire service numbers, emergency numbers 112, 192. We'll post the other numbers on our social media platforms. Only call when there is an emergency, and think about the fireman when next you encounter a fire situation. Their welfare is also very important. Just as you expect them to deliver, they also expect cooperation as they do their work.